In this day and age, slavery is still big business. These are slaves, thousands of women and children. They're Dinka from southern Sudan and had been abducted by militiamen, then sold as slaves to their Arab enemies in the north of the country. Today, they'll be sold again, but hopefully it'll be for the last time.
I have very, very mixed feelings about what has happened to them. We're very happy that they're coming back, that they're in their own country, that they'll be able to be with their loved ones again. But we feel very angry about what has happened to them, about the abuse. And so one has all sorts of feelings swirling about inside when you're actually here and come into direct contact with the returning slaves.
In the border area between North and South Sudan, the enslavement of women and children is a daily event. For over 16 years, there's been war here. No side is winning, neither the Islamic North nor the black African South. Our village, Wanijok, was raided and burnt to the ground. Along with 17 other women, I was taken north. We had to work in the fields. We were beaten and hardly had anything to eat. It costs around $50 to buy a slave's freedom. The Arab slave traders don't want to give their names. The way my Arab brothers have treated the Dinka is terrible. We're all Sudanese. That's why I'm helping to bring the slaves back. For 3 years I've been selling back slaves. I've become known. Now I can't go to the north anymore. The government would kill me immediately. They've seen my face. Every woman and child slave has their fingerprints registered in a computer. The Swiss aid organization buying their freedom wants to be sure they won't be paying for the same slave twice. Men from the region are gathering here. They've heard about the buyback of slaves, and they're hoping they might find their families again. My family was kidnapped and my house burnt, says this farmer. We don't have anything except our sticks to defend ourselves against the Arabs. These men are amongst the lucky ones. They found their wives and children. The Dinka really show their feelings, but in a situation like this, it's difficult for even them to keep self-control. I'm so happy. Now I'm finally going home with my husband.
Our goal is to contribute to a transformation of Sudan into a state where there is peace, justice, respect for the rule of law, and basic human rights for all citizens. So even if all of the slaves were somehow redeemed, our work would carry on. But we believe that there are still, or in fact we're sure that there are tens of thousands of women and children who are still chattel slaves.
The long civil war has made it difficult to farm the land, and hunger has become common. The Dinka were once the most famous cattle breeders in Africa. Now, they're a shadow of what they once were. Bona Malwal is an Oxford professor and politician.
I just don't understand how the Western world mentality works, because, the first thing that you have to do is to crack against those who are perpetuating slavery, not those who are trying to make you aware that this is crime being committed here and helping the families of these children that are being enslaved. It's an incredible situation how the Western world is treating the people of Southern Sudan.
Every family in the border region of Bahr el-Ghazal has its own tragic story to tell since the kidnapping of slaves began in the mid-80s. In the north, the Quran is the basis of Sudanese law. The regime in the capital, Khartoum, refuses to take any responsibility for the action of its militias.
We agree with one of the Arab in Warawa to go and bring my wife back safely, regardless of she has been raped. Also, I heard that my daughter was dead because of that.
We had to travel all day. We didn't have anything to eat or drink. My small daughter died of thirst. I couldn't bury her. I simply had to lie her against a tree and keep on going.
Simply because the head has been hit, an arm was cut, simply because she was not moving quickly like other people.
I was hit with a big stick. Day and night we had to watch the goats. I had to sleep standing up. This boy had a tooth smashed because one of his goats ran away. He was abducted with his mother, but nobody knows where she is. He's forgotten how to speak the Dinka language. Cries of Allah Akbar in Khartoum call Muslims to morning prayer. Since the military came to power in 1989, the North's been firmly in the hand of the Muslims. Khartoum awakens. This city of 6 million people lies at the meeting point of the White Nile, flowing from Uganda, and the Blue Nile, flowing from Ethiopia. The war has left Sudan poor, and it costs the country $1 million a day, exactly the same amount as the United Nations gives Sudan in food aid. A paradoxical situation. It's estimated 2 million people have already died in the conflict. 4.5 million people have been displaced. % of Sudanese struggle to live from the land. A hard existence, since northern Sudan is mainly desert. The former Islamist party is now called the National Congress, but it hasn't changed its hatred for the South.
Without any hesitation that this government is not at all involved in any practices related to slavery. And I tell you now, I am willing to sponsor the prosecution of anyone accused anywhere as being involved in slavery.
The UN Children's Agency, UNICEF, has to proceed diplomatically in countries like Sudan. Otherwise, they'd be expelled.
Abduction is the first act committed by some tribals and some government armed people on the ground, and we are dealing with abduction of the children right now.
The Catholic Church educates 45,000 children in Khartoum. Here too, there's government control. Government inspectors check if the teachers also teach Islamic culture, as required by law.
I was arrested for a whole month, tortured and then beaten. After finding that I'm a student, I have no any link with the movement, I was released.
Uniformed men on horses attacked our village. They killed many villagers. They simply hacked them to pieces. I had to work 4 years